Trump furious after Supreme Court upends his global tariffs, imposes new 10% levy. Political drama overshadows Berlin Film Festival finale. Trump to travel to China next month, with U.S. tariffs in focus. U.S. Supreme Court strikes down Trump's global tariffs. Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane dies at 53. Donald Trump reacted angrily on Friday after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that he does not have the authority to unilaterally impose broad import tariffs. Despite the 6-3 ruling, Trump said he would press ahead with his global trade agenda. Within hours, he announced a new 10% tariff on most imports from all countries, on top of existing duties, and signed a proclamation putting the measure into effect for up to 150 days, as allowed under U.S. law. The Supreme Court decision overturned Trump's claim that he could use emergency powers to impose unlimited tariffs. Writing for the majority, John Roberts cited the U.S. Constitution, which gives Congress, not the President, the authority to levy taxes and duties. Trump denounced the ruling, saying he was ashamed of some justices and accusing the court, without evidence, of being influenced by foreign interests. He said the decision weakened the United States' negotiating position in trade talks. The ruling has cast uncertainty over several trade deals negotiated under the threat of high tariffs, and raised questions about the future of roughly $175 billion already collected from importers under the invalidated measures. The 76th edition of the Berlin Film Festival comes to a close today, after a 10-day run marked by strong films, but dominated by a heated debate over the role of politics in cinema. The controversy began early in the festival, when jury president Wim Wenders declined to comment on Germany's support for Israel, saying filmmaking should not be confused with party politics. While Wenders said films can influence how people see the world, he argued they do not directly change political decision-making. His remarks sparked backlash from artists and activists. Indian author Arundhati Roy withdrew from the festival, calling Wenders' comments unacceptable. Days later, dozens of filmmakers and actors, including Javier Bardem and Tilda Swinton, signed an open letter criticizing the festival for what they described as silence on the war in Gaza. Festival director Trisha Tuttle rejected accusations of censorship, saying some claims were inaccurate and warning that political disputes were overshadowing discussion of the films themselves. Despite the controversy, several films stood out in competition. Anthony Chen's We Are All Strangers, a family drama set in Singapore, was praised for its emotional depth and social commentary. German actress Sandra Hüller also drew acclaim for her performance in Rose, a black-and-white historical drama about gender and survival in 17th-century Germany. U.S. President Donald Trump will travel to China from March 31st to April 2nd for a high-profile meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, the White House confirmed on Friday. The announcement came just hours after the Supreme Court of the United States struck down many of the sweeping tariffs Trump had imposed during his global trade war, including key measures targeting China. The visit to Beijing is expected to focus on extending a fragile trade truce that has helped stabilize relations between the world's two largest economies. That truce followed recent U.S. tariff reductions in exchange for Chinese actions, including curbs on fentanyl trafficking and a pause on export controls for critical minerals. However, the Supreme Court ruling has introduced new uncertainty. The court said Trump exceeded his authority by using emergency powers to impose 20% tariffs on Chinese imports under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Other China-related tariffs imposed under separate trade laws remain in place. Trump said he plans to introduce a new 10% global tariff for up to 150 days, though details remain unclear. The Supreme Court of the United States has struck down sweeping import tariffs imposed by Donald Trump, delivering a major legal defeat to the Republican president with significant implications for the global economy. In a 6-3 ruling issued on Friday, the court said Trump overstepped his authority by using a national emergency law to justify the tariffs. The decision was written by Chief Justice John Roberts. The court found that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, a 1977 law intended for genuine national emergencies, does not give the president the power to unilaterally impose broad tariffs on imports. Trump reacted angrily, criticizing the justices who ruled against him. He said he would pursue tariffs through other alternatives and immediately announced a new 10% global tariff, citing a different legal authority than the one rejected by the court. The ruling upholds a lower court decision and calls into question hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs imposed under the emergency law, reshaping the legal limits of presidential trade powers. Eric Dane, best known for his roles on Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria, has died after a battle with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. He was 53. Dane passed away on the 19th of February, according to a statement from his representatives. He had revealed his ALS diagnosis in April last year and went on to become a vocal advocate for awareness and research. He spent his final days surrounded by dear friends, his devoted wife, and his two beautiful daughters, Billy and Georgia, who were the center of his world, the statement said. Throughout his journey with ALS, Eric became a passionate advocate for awareness and research, determined to make a difference for others facing the same fight. Career highlights. Dane rose to international fame in the mid-2000s as Dr. Mark Sloan, nicknamed McSteamy, on Grey's Anatomy. His character, head of plastic surgery at the show's fictional hospital, became a fan favorite and later inspired the hospital's on-screen renaming. Dane reprised the role briefly in 2021. In 2019, he gained renewed global attention for his performance as Cal Jacobs, a complex and troubled father in HBO's Euphoria. He had been expected to appear in the show's long-awaited final season,